New York City was awake long before dawn, but amid its noise and neon, a billionaire sat in his sleek car in silence. Henry Whittaker, worth over $9 billion, had everything: tech empires, stock portfolios, even a private island, everything except what he craved the most, a child to carry on his name. Not love. Not marriage. Just legacy. That morning, as he sipped his coffee outside his midtown penthouse, he saw her. Layla, barefoot, wrapped in a tattered blanket, sitting quietly by a street lamp. Her cheeks were red from the cold, her eyes empty, yet not broken. Something in her face, dignity amid despair, struck him. He got out of his car, approached her slowly, and handed her a warm drink. "I want to help you," he said. But in a very unusual way. What followed was nothing short of insane. He offered her a home, food, medical care, and $100,000 to carry his child. No strings attached. Just birth the baby. Walk away. Layla, after days of internal war, whispered one word. Yes. Layla's new apartment in Queens was warm, safe, and stocked. She slept in a bed for the first time in 18 months. Doctors checked in weekly. Nutritionists delivered balanced meals. Yet, she cried most nights. Not because she regretted the decision, but because she felt invisible. She wasn't a mother yet. She was a vessel. And although she tried to feel grateful, the truth was, she felt bought. Henry rarely visited. When he did, he brought gifts, teddy bears, baby clothes, ultrasound frames, but never asked about her. Only the baby. Until one evening, Layla cooked a simple stew and offered him a plate. "It's what my mom used to make when rent was due and we had nothing left in the fridge." Henry hesitated. Then sat. That dinner changed something. He asked about her life. Her dream of becoming a schoolteacher. Her mother's sudden death. The eviction. The months spent surviving. Henry listened. Really listened. And for the first time, he saw her not as a carrier, but as a person. Weeks passed. Layla began painting. She covered the nursery wall in soft blues and clouds. Henry, surprisingly, joined in, suit sleeves rolled up, brush in hand. "Why do you want a child?" she asked one evening. He paused. "Because I was one, once, and no one ever really wanted me. My parents were too busy with their fortune. I want to give someone the life I never had." Layla's eyes softened. "That child won't just want wealth, Henry. He'll need love." He stayed silent, the paintbrush trembling in his hand. That night, Henry didn't leave. He sat in the armchair, watching Layla sleep, realizing he was scared, not of fatherhood, but of feeling. At 7 months, the baby kicked harder than ever before. Henry placed his hand gently on Layla's belly. The moment their skin touched, he gasped. "He's strong," Layla whispered. Henry smiled for the first time in front of her. Not his corporate smirk, but a real, boyish smile. "He feels real. More than numbers. More than plans," she replied. They began attending birthing classes together, the billionaire sitting on yoga mats, learning how to breathe through contractions. The instructors whispered, "Are they a couple?" Neither of them answered. But the unspoken bond grew stronger. On a stormy April night, Layla went into labor. Henry was there in minutes, fumbling, panicked, softer than anyone had ever seen him. Hours later, the baby was born. A boy. Healthy. Loud. Beautiful. Henry held him. He looked into the baby's eyes and froze. The baby's cry faded into the background. A tremble ran through him. The child had a heart-shaped birthmark. The exact one Henry had. The same his father had. A mark that ran in their bloodline. He turned to the nurse. "IVF worked?" The nurse looked confused. Layla paled. No, she whispered. It didn't. Henry stepped back. What? I didn't know how to tell you. The treatment failed. I was heartbroken. I was going to leave, but then I found out I was pregnant. Naturally. The man I'd loved before all this, he left. But I couldn't lose this chance. I was afraid you'd send me back to the streets. I didn't lie to hurt you. I just wanted to give this child a chance. Henry sat down, holding the child, who somehow still looked like him. Or perhaps, this was fate playing its own hand. He looked at her. You lied, but this child is mine. Even if not by DNA, by destiny. The lawyers were cold. You're not obligated to provide anything, they reminded Henry. But he didn't want legal advice. He wanted truth. He watched Layla hold Jacob. Her hands trembled, but her eyes were full of love. You can take him, she said. I'll leave. Just, tell him I loved him. Henry shook his head slowly. You're not going anywhere. And just like that, he made a decision that shocked his entire empire. He adopted Layla and Jacob both. Not because he had to. Because he wanted to. The mansion on Long Island had never heard laughter until Jacob giggled. Layla turned the guest room into a library. She enrolled in online college, finally chasing her dream of teaching. And Henry? He learned how to love. 2 years later, Henry sold one of his companies and launched the Whitaker Haven, a nationwide program for homeless women, offering shelter, education, and parenting support. He gave Layla the title of Director of Purpose. When asked why a billionaire was doing this, he smiled at reporters and said, because someone once gave me everything, without expecting anything in return. Layla stood beside him during interviews, her voice shaking but strong, as she told her story, not of homelessness, but of hope. Their story made headlines. From contract to compassion, they called it. But for them, it was just life. 5 years later. Jacob, curious, gentle, and wildly intelligent, stood on stage at his school play, dressed as a little fox. In the front row sat Layla, Henry, and dozens of children from the Whitaker Haven. Henry had tears in his eyes. Layla leaned over. You okay? He nodded. I never believed a child could teach me how to live again. She smiled. And I never thought being broken could make me a mother. They held hands quietly as Jacob finished his lines. And the audience applauded, not for the performance, but for what it represented. A billionaire's heart reopened. A homeless woman's life restored. A child born not from perfection, but from imperfection, compassion, and love. Because in the end, family isn't made in clinics or courts. It's made in moments of truth. And the greatest legacies aren't built from wealth, they're built from love.